All right, so we're going to do an eBay unboxing. Let me tell you something, guys. If you're a seller on eBay or Etsy or whatever, or you're a buyer of one of these places, oh my goodness. All right, so my mailman just delivered my box, and guess what? My mailman also delivered my neighbor's package. And so this may be like a no big deal type of deal, but it is a big deal. What if my package was delivered to the wrong neighbor and it was a $300 package? Now the mailman just and he scans it and it says delivered, right? But say you didn't get your package, like my neighbor didn't get her package. Well, I had my husband deliver it and it was like a block away. I mean, the numbers were so different that I don't know how they screwed that one up. But what happens if your $200 package from eBay or Etsy arrives to the wrong person and they scan it that it's delivered? You're screwed. Yes, you're screwed as a consumer. You're screwed because the sufficient proof that your package was delivered is it says delivered. And so you'd lose out on your $200 item. This has happened to me once before, actually 3 times before. All right, so I'm going to tell you how you, by the way, not only is this an unboxing, it's a public service educational video. All right, so what can you do if your package says delivered and it wasn't delivered from the United States Postal Service? Here's what you do. You don't call up the 1-800-ASK-USPS number. Why? Because you'll just like be on hold for 49 hours and there's nothing they can do about it. So basically, your best bet is to... So what you're going to do is you're going to Google the address of your local post office, and you're going to write contact information of that particular address. Get your local post office's phone number. Call up, and if you don't get an automated system or voicemail, ask for, when someone answers, the postmaster, and tell them what happened. Here's what they can do. They can actually, every time they scan your package or, somebody's package, it basically has a GPS where they'll know exactly within maybe half of a house what house they dropped that package off. They do have that information. And that's what saved me on those 3 other occasions when my packages were delivered to the wrong addresses. The post office or the postmaster went into their files, into the scanning files, and found that my package was dropped off at the wrong house on 3 occasions. And what do they do in that case? They'll send the postal clerk or the mail carrier to the house that it was misdelivered to, and they'll knock on the door. Excuse me, sir, ma'am, whatever you are. Did you just get this package I dropped off? Well, I delivered it to the wrong address. Can I have it back, please? And unfortunately, there's going to be devious people out there who are less than honest. If they like what they opened up and got, they're not going to tell the postman that they got the package. So they lie. And it happened to me. Out of the 3 times, 2 people were honest. One person was not and got an item that was worth $350 for free. Yes, that actually happened to me. In that recourse, I said to the the postmaster, I want my money back. And the postmaster said, well, how much was the item insured for? Turns out my eBay seller just basically got the free $100 insurance. With shipping it, you get free $100 insurance. I think with priority mail and first class. And it turns out, guess what? The seller was like, I only insured it for $100. And the Postal Service, even though they flubbed up, said, well, you can only get $100 for your item. And so I went to the seller on eBay and I said, look, it was delivered to the wrong address. I have the proof, and you have to give me back all my money. And the seller was very nice and gave me back my money. Okay, the seller didn't have to. The seller could have said, hey, buzz off. But I did not get my package. I had sufficient proof. If not, if the seller tells you to go pound sand, here's what you do. You call up, I was going to say YouTube. You call up eBay, and you can get the customer service number. They make it very hard to get that information. Google eBay customer service number. And then you talk to a customer service agent. You tell them what happened. You show them your proof. Yes, you can even upload it to them. They'll ask you for proof. And booyah, you'll get your money back. All right, so my regular mailman's on vacation, and I have 2 more packages coming. And after seeing what happened today, I told my husband, I know I'm making this into a mountain out of a molehill, but it really grinds my gears, if you know what I mean. And I said to my husband, let the mailman or the temp know that he delivered that package to the wrong house. And my husband said, I just stuck it in the mailbox. It was like like 3/4 of a block down. And my husband just stuffed it into the mailbox. I said, you should have corrected him and told him he misdelivered a package and scanned it as delivered. Well, whatever. Well, the neighbor was getting tea. It said something about tea, something, like the company had tea in the name. So we don't like tea here. And all right. Now, if it was like the Blue Diamond, from the Titanic, no, I still would have given it back. All right, let's get this open. Let's get the show on the road. What did I get here? All right, let's go ahead. And now, I'm like nervous in the service. I'm thinking my other 2 packages, now one of them is worth about $500. And I'm afraid I'm not going to get it because this Yahoo, whenever my mailman is on vacation, the temps are like absolute suck. They're like dyslexic. They don't even get the numbers right and misdeliver packages like for at least 2 weeks while my regular mailman's on vacation. God bless him, he deserves the damn vacation, but I need my packages to arrive. This is the cheap one. I wish it would have been the expensive one that I would have gotten today so I could have breathed a sigh of relief. All right, so what do we have here? We have history, boys and girls. History, I tell you. And let's get this out of the way. Okay, so this is actually very, very old. And this is what kind of shell is this? Oh, I forgot. Cowrie. A cowrie shell. And cowrie shells actually used to be a form of currency that was worth more than gold. So cowries actually were very, very precious and very valuable at one time. The only way to get cowrie shells is generally by going into the coral reef, and to bring these back up was not easy back in the days before submarines and scuba diving equipment. And so cowrie shells were a form of currency with aborigines and natives of certain areas in the, I forgot what part. I know that you can find them off Hawaii. You can find them, I think, in some kind of South Pacific and South Pacific area and stuff like that. Africa, off of Africa, even off of, believe it or not, the Atlantic. But yeah, pretty cool stuff here. So what we have is, look at this. Now, there's a thing called Scrimshaw. And if you don't know what Scrimshaw is, it's basically engraving. What the hell was that bang? Okay, sorry about that. It's engraving on bone that was done like in the 1700s, the 1600s, the 1800s. And real authentic Scrimshaw was usually done on ivory bone, like tusks from elephants, which is now, it's outlawed to do that. Whale teeth and so on and so forth. But this is on a shell. So I wouldn't say this was Scrimshaw, but it's similar to Scrimshaw. And now you, actually, you cannot even buy, like, of course, ivory tusks from the elephants to do this type of work. But a lot of people that like to carve and still do Scrimshaw today will get ivory pieces off of eBay that are antique. You can buy and sell the antique ones, but not, you can't sell this stuff anymore. All right, so we have Our Father. Look at this. Do you see this old English font? Look at that. And it's the Our Father prayer, actually carved like a cameo. Now, this is another thing. This is a multi-collectible type of thing. There's people that collect seashells. There's people that collect Scrimshaw. There's people that collect cameos. And there's people that collect pretty much lint or anything in that category, and many other categories. But yeah, so this is like a multi-tier collectible. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. And it says, Our Father, I can't read this because I'm blind, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom, I should know this by heart. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses. This is my what shall, they never remember this. As we forgive those, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evils. For thine is thy kingdom, the power, and thy glory, forever and ever. Amen. Look at how beautiful this is. Now, when was this made? Now, this was actually generally made somewhere in the early 1800s to the early 20th century, probably about the 20s. And after that, no more. Why? Because look at this. Look at all the workmanship it takes to do something like this. Now, a lot of cameos, especially the ladies' brooches and stuff like that, are done by laser today. This person, can you imagine the amount of work that went into writing every single one of these tiny little letters and carve this by hand? Do you imagine the work that went into this? I can't even imagine. Okay, so time elapsed past. I ended up leaving it on for like 15 minutes. You really should leave it on for longer. And I buffed it up, and look at the shine on this, the incredible shine on this. This is nothing short of a miracle. This is what it probably looked like when it was first made in the 1870s. All right, so let's go ahead and see what these are valued out, and all different ones you'll find on the market in many different languages as well. Oh, I forgot to mention, the production of these had to be expensive. It couldn't have been cheap, because think about the time invested in this. The time invested in typing, well, actually carving all these teeny tiny little letters in here couldn't have been easy for the person doing this. So I'm sure that these weren't cheap when they were sold. And if they were, it was a loss. It was an actual loss of manpower. Think about all the time it took to make this tiny little souvenir. Now, also, these were not only souvenirs, but these were things that ship people did. Well, sailors. If a sailor was on a long journey, they would get a conch shell and they would actually carve anything into these things. Beautiful decorative art, words. They could actually have a person's name, the year they were born, in memoriam for people. Well, let's get to it. I'll show you the many other different ones you will come across on the internet. I just wanted to show you the beautiful, beautiful coloring of this shell outside, so you can see how it changes in the light. Look at that. Really, really quite beautiful. Okay, so I'm filming my computer screen. I just thought I'd make you guys laugh. Jesus chip. Well, you can win it for $250 and buy it now for $10,000. Why can't I be this lucky? I'm going to make you guys laugh. Look at this. This is the ultimate Jesus chip. And yeah, for a limited time only, you can win this for $250 or $10,000. Description, I just noticed this. A Lay's wavy chip found in bag 064V2368434 with a cross perfectly in it. Perfect for collectors. So like I said earlier, that like people collect just about anything, even lint in their pocket. Now here is Scrimshaw that I was mentioning earlier. This is basically on whale tooth or ivory tusk. And this is what an old 1800 Scrimshaw would look like. Sorry for the pixelation on my computer screen. But here's some other piece. A pair of walrus tusks, 1900. And let's continue to go. This is close-up of a sailor. So when they were bored, they would actually just sit on the ship in around 1817 or 1787. And they would just like do this stuff. Oh, and there we go. There's Nellie Olson from Little House on the Prairie. Close-up of a woman. It does look like Nellie Olson. A terrible Nellie Olson. There we go. Scrimshaw cribbage board. Okay, so here we go. 1860. This is actually a famous, I believe, a famous boxer. Was this a famous boxer? Oh, old-time boxing champ. 1860. And here's a shell. Look at this. This is very... Why did it turn a different color? Oh, there we go. And there we go. It says, one of the finest pieces of historical Boxiana. People collect Boxiana. We have offered hand-carved shell is replete with the three-dimensional carved image of J.C. Heenan of the Benicia boy. Oh, he's the Benicia boy. Surrounded by two very patriotic American flags. And, yeah, April 17th, 1860. Look at this. So these are actually older than I thought they would be, because I thought mine was like probably a 1930s thing. Now, this unscrupulous auction house actually sold one that was like the boxing one, but with Abe Lincoln on it. Let's find it. Okay, with Abe Lincoln. We just saw the boxer, the one that was like with the boxer's, I don't know, likeness. This does not even look like Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln. And see, it says president. This is when he was assassinated, and it incorrectly said New York. Now, Ford's Theater was not in New York in 1865 when he was assassinated. So Lincoln Booth, assassination Cowrie, Seashell, sold for $200. Now, the person said, seemingly foreign, made as the image of Lincoln bears no resemblance, and he was not shot in New York, as stated. And, yeah, there we go. Property of a private collector in Illinois. Wait, let's blow this sucker up. And there you go. Look at the writing. Now, with the boxer one, they basically said, hand-carved shell, and it did say something about this is not a souvenir. This is not a souvenir. Bullshit. Because we just saw proof in the pudding that the other one, that looks almost identical to it, is a souvenir of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, with even down to the little medallion in the center. And just for bullshitting, they got $1,232.57 for the boxer one. Now here's a beautiful antique 1860s Scrimshaw carved shell. This one's really beautiful. It's like mother of pearl. And you can see that right there. Look, it's talking about the ship that was actually what looks like a tattoo is Scrimshaw right there on the top. Let's check this out. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And the sad part was it only sold for $225. Now here's one that was dated 1840, and it's in Swedish. So you will find these actually in other languages. And this one is dated 1840. Let's check out. Oops, I'm trying to go up here, and it's just not going to happen. And we have a similar writing to the Amen, but they are all different. No two are alike, although they look identical. Cowrie shells and trade power. Cowrie shells were traded for goods and services throughout Africa, Asia, Europe, and Oceania, and used as money as early as the 14th century on Africa's western coast. Because the shells were small, portable, and durable, they served as an excellent currency and were almost impossible to counterfeit, appearing in standard weights. And they preferred cowries to gold for the reason that each one weighed about a similar amount of weight. And so they couldn't be counterfeited, and this was as pricey as gold. Now, the latest I've been able to find these date up to is about 1921, and this one here is dated 1921. It's a souvenir of the USS North Dakota battleship, and there we go. And you can see it's a way different font than mine. It's a more contemporary 20th century font, and that's another example I get to show you guys. Okay, so here's one on, actually I think it was in England. Yeah, it was sold in England. This one dated 1823, and it has actually a person's name and their date of birth on it. Really quite interesting. Look at this. Hugh William, born December something. Oh, December 6th, 1823. Is it? Yeah, 1823. Look at this. And this is Seaman's work, Our Father engraved on a leopard shell, 19th century. Now, I thought that ours was Cowrie, and I guess we will never know. Here we go. There's the Amen. Look at that. Look at that handwork. And this is in a different language. It's in actually German, which is quite cool. This is, I believe, in a museum. I'm not sure. Look at that. Do you see this? All right, so I guess we got a leopard shell, but I thought it was Cowrie. And there we go. Yeah, definitely. Vater in German means father. And war, or I can't pronounce German. I'll have to sound angry, means hour. And look at that. Do you see this? This is the coolest thing ever, boys and girls. And let's find out. Is there any? Yeah, there's no more information. Now, I'm on a historical site, which is a museum, and this is the Clara Barton National Historic Site. And sometimes bad information is out there on things. Here's again an Our Father shell, and it says circa 1900 to 1950, but then it goes ahead to say South Carolina, 1893. It says this shell has the Lord's Prayer carved into its side. It represents the gifts that were likely given to Miss Barton, likely given to Miss Barton by mostly African-American survivors of the Sea Islands hurricane in South Carolina. What bullshit. Boys and girls, they make shit up, basically. Miss Martin and the American Red Cross provided aid to the victims of the shore in its aftermath, and it's dating it to 1893. This is absolute bullshit. I can probably almost guarantee you that no African-Americans carved this into this shell. And here's an antique shop in London that actually sold one of these. It doesn't say a price, but again, we have Our Father. It says a fine quality mid-19th century conch shell, and that would be mid-1800s. Cards in relief to reveal the Lord's Prayer, circa, right here, 1840. Do you see that? 1840. And we see one being sold on eBay. It's actually being sold for $250. And there's quite a bit of these out there still. You can still come across them with cracks in them. And that's really sad to see it cracked like that. That's why you need to put the oil. You have to oil the shell. Earl. In Brooklyn, when I was a kid, all the old Italians used to call oil Earl. And here's one, 1870. Lord's Prayer, hand-carved seashell, Canadian, 265, which is probably about $200 US because our dollar still rules. I don't know how. And look at that. Look at the beauty of that. And no two are alike, although they look very, very similar. Oh, and it says, cards by it says this remarkable piece of Cameo hand-carved workmanship, 1870, features the Lord's Prayer. It says it's the old version of the Lord's Prayer. And it's quite stunning religious collectible. There's a papal label inside the shell structure, which I believe bears the name of the sculpture and the date to 1870. And I did find another one on eBay, and you can clearly see 1879 on a piece of paper stuck inside of the shell. And here's another shell. This one is, again, dated 1879. George Herbert Whale. And he was born on March 17th, 1879. So I have a couple in my watch list right now. But yet I found another one. And this one is only $12.99. Would buy it now. But why won't I buy it, boys and girls? Because it's heavily cracked. Which is really freaking sad. Look at this. It's really damaged. The intrinsic value of this is probably nil because of this. But what I did notice was there was a piece of paper in there. And do you see the piece of paper in there? Let's blow it up. Oh, good Lord. I'm losing it. Here we go. And you see 1876, this particular one with somebody's name in there. And I don't know, I was thinking of buying it anyway for that price, but no, I'm not. I can't approve of that purchase because it's going to cost about, oh, there goes the dogs ruining my video. It's going to end up costing me $12.99 plus about $10 shipping and then tax, and then it'll cost me like $20 for something cracked up and damaged. So what is the value of something like this? It's very subjective. What one person will sell for 25, by the way, I got this for $25. That was like a steal of a deal. But what one person will pay, another person won't. And so I would value this between $25 and about $250. Really a great score. We find out the history. We find out like about really cool folk art. This is considered folk art. Is it American? I don't think so. I think this is British. And I can't tell for sure, but I really do feel British. But I hope you enjoyed this video about learning about things. And again, make sure if your mail says delivered and your package isn't in the mail, call up the local post office, not 1-800-ASK-USPS. And make sure you ask for a postmaster and tell them you want the GPS coordinates of where the delivered package says it was delivered. And then they'll have to go back and retrieve your package, but your neighbors might not be honest. And so you got an issue with that. Thanks for watching. See you guys all soon, and so long.